you understand? I suppose you notice this little contract here.
When did you decide to name your project that?
You know what? You're the first one to bring up the Satanism, and I'm so glad that you did.
Are you signing your name on the dotted line? Are you signing your soul away?
Manson stated, quote, "As a teenager, I was very interested in selling my soul."
This is Noel Gallagher. He's an English musician from the very famous band Oasis. Here's what he once said.
Quote, "If the devil popped up now and said it's a choice, music or relationships, be it mother, girlfriend, even Liam, I'd sign on the dotted line."
Now the more one looks into the music industry, it's like everyone there who's very famous has actually signed the dotted line, as you'll see in this video. This is Juice WRLD, an American rapper who passed away in 2019. Back then, while he was still alive, he wrote a song titled Legends in tribute to XXXTentacion and Lil Peep, rappers just like him, both of whom died young. He says, "What is the 27 Club? We ain't making it past 21. The 27 Club refers to a group of influential musicians, artists, and actors who tragically passed away at the age of 27, often under mysterious, tragic, or self-destructive circumstances. The most insane thing about his 'we are not making it past 21' prediction is he doom prophesied his own demise, for he died 6 days after his 21st birthday. I might be reaching, but 6 days? Check out what Drake, who calls himself the Sixth God, once flashed in his concert.
Drake is singing Days in the East Monday night in Toronto during the OVO Fest when a fiery six appears, followed by an image of Rihanna, followed again by a six, then another Rihanna, and a third six.
Now that aside, you look at a case like this and obviously you start asking yourself questions. Who accurately predicts his demise? Unless there's a darker underbelly of his story that you're not being told. Well, let us uncover that. There's a song titled Rentals he made, and in there you do see a shocking hint. He sings, "Need my millions up front, yeah, plus a bonus, had a big heart, till a blank sold it. Had a good soul, till a blank sold it." In his song Summer Addiction, he explicitly says, and I quote, "Sold my soul, now I can buy anything." As I researched this song on YouTube, the first result recommended of this song was this. Now look at the number of views. That is crazy, right?
Frank Zappa declared, "I'm the devil's advocate. We have our own worshippers who are called groupies. Girls will give their bodies to musicians as you would give a sacrifice to a god."
I am the devil. Do you understand? Just what will you give me for your beer? I suppose you notice this little contract here.
You can have my soul.
Frank Zappa not only promoted Satanism, but acknowledged the subversive power of music. Zappa admitted, quote, "I realized that the music got through to the youngsters because the big beat matched the great rhythms of the body, and I further knew that they would carry this with them for the rest of their lives." Zappa went on to write, quote, "The ways in which sound affects the human organism are myriad and subtle. The loud sounds and bright lights of today are tremendous indoctrination tools." Tori Amos, who also blasphemes Jesus Christ and sings songs like Father Lucifer, said, "Music is the most powerful medium in the world. You're hitting places in people."
Now talking about Lucifer, which is another name for the devil, there is this young lady who was raised in a satanic cult led by her grandmother, as you saw recently in the past video, and she said that rich people would come to the evil ceremonies, and this is what they'd say about the evil one.
During these ceremonies, was Satan the devil ever referred to?
He was called Lucifer.
Surprisingly, there are famous people who have affiliated themselves with Lucifer, and one of them is this guy called Kendrick Lamar. The clips you're about to watch are not my own opinions, but rather what he literally confessed himself.
In Lamar's music, he candidly admits that Lucifer tempts him often with fame, fortune, and sex, and that he sometimes gives in. In an interview with Lamar, he acknowledged that Lucy is a nickname for the devil himself, and that he influences his music.
There's also parts in the album where you speak to Lucy, Lucifer.
Yeah.
Now let me post Kendrick Lamar as I talk about something more interesting. Then I'll be back to talk about his shocking confessions even in depth in a few. Well, there is a clip of a certain woman who almost blew up in the industry, and she was already meeting up with famous people and writing evil lyrics.
I had a song with Gucci Mane, Busta Rhymes. I had a song with Sean Paul. I'm working with a producer who's worked with everyone. I mean, to name a few, Destiny's Child and Michael Jackson.
There was one thing that held her back.
I'm working with a producer who's worked with everyone. I mean, to name a few, Destiny's Child and Michael Jackson were his biggest artists that he's worked with. And we're in a session one day and we take a break. And he's like, let's go for a walk. Now, this studio was in the basement of a hotel in Miami, and the hotel was under renovations. So we're walking around the suites, and we're away from everybody else. And he was a good guy, like nothing weird, but he's like, so let me tell you something. You know that if you sold your soul to the devil, you can have instant fame tomorrow? So now, this just became real.
And just like Snoop,
in Snoop Dogg's song, Murder Was the Case, Snoop Dogg raps about his symbolic murder and resurrection, wherein he is given his life back by the devil after selling his soul to Satan. Snoop Dogg, after being shot, raps, I see demons. Satan enters a room in the form of a crow and transforms himself into this creepy white guy with black fingernails. Satan then offers Snoop the world as he gives him visions of riches and women and booze and drugs.
She too had that I will give you all you want temptation moment if you only bow down and worship me from the evil one, just like Jesus. But thank God she rejected it. Listen to her story.
But I remember one night I'm in New York and I partied all the time and I smoked all the time. So I know what my body can handle at this point. And we get back to the apartment at like 4 a.m, go to sleep. At least that was the plan. It was to lay down and go to sleep. But it was as if as soon as my head hit the pillow and my eyes closed, I was somewhere else. There was no drifting into sleep. It was just instantaneous. Here I am. Where am I? I'm in outer space. Because it was more real than this whole room, than us having this conversation. It was so real.
It didn't feel fuzzy like
naturally. It was 5D. This being starts to come in focus, and he's huge, and it's the silhouette of this being, and he's just moving towards me, and I'm looking, and he's huge in appearance, and I just knew this is a supernatural being, and he said, "If you worship me, I will give you all these things." Oh my gosh, I still feel it, like in memory, and I just immediately looked to the earth. Because the earth started to change and started to show, like, project images of the things that he was offering. If I worship him, he'll give me fame, a relationship, whatever, a bunch of stuff. And I'm looking and I'm like, I immediately felt this weird sense of peace. Because I'm like, oh, this is my time to choose. And after he said what he said, I said, no, I'm the daughter of Christ. No. And he called me the B word. Like, disgusted, B word. And then immediately I'm up.
Eminem has admitted repeatedly that he has been a sellout to Satan for power. Eminem has further admitted that his music corrupts young people.
A bunch of little kids wanna swear just like me. I think I was put here to annoy the world and destroy your little 4-year-old boy or girl.
In his biographical song, Say Goodbye Hollywood, Eminem raps about leaving his girlfriend and making it big as a rapper after selling his soul to the devil.
If I can go back, I never would have rapped. I sold my soul to the devil, I'll never get it back.
There's also parts in the album where you speak to Lucy, Lucifer.
Yeah. I may do an after party, and this is how I'll be able to write these records, because it's not just the positive energy that speaks to me, it's the negative too, it's the evils too, and we all have temptations. Lucy is one of my favorite records because it's me actually coming to realization of the evils rather than acting like it's not going around.
But it reminded me a little bit of Snoop.
Yeah.
And Murder Was the Case. Where he had that conversation with the devil, with Lucifer, and that temptation was in his face.
This is all quite revealing, as Snoop's song is about Snoop's soul being taken over by Satan and Satan empowering him to gain great success in the rap world.
I see demons. Dear God, I wonder, can you save me?
bring your lifestyle to me and make it better.
And how long will life be?
Eternal life and forever. Make your life better than you can imagine or even dream of. Let me take control. Close your eyes, my son.
Eyes closed.
As you see, Snoop Dogg and Kendrick Lamar have given us hints that they made pacts with the enemy. Now back to Kendrick Lamar, the most concerning of his lyrics was when he said the following. This is the most explicit of his lyrics. Anybody who will deny this has either chosen to be willfully blind and deaf. In his song Reincarnated, he says to the devil, "You fell out of heaven cause you were anxious, didn't like authority, only such to be heinous." Isaiah 14 was the only thing that was prevalent. Now this is the most disturbing part. My greatest music director was you. Just to make it even more clear, this video deals with people who have made pacts and sold their souls to the evil one for fame, status, and money. Kendrick talks about the devil when he says, "Centuries you manipulated men with music, embodied you as superstars to see how you're moving." That's literally the things that we are covering in this video. And Isaiah 14 that he quotes in Reincarnated talks about the fall of Satan from heaven. That's the same Satan Lamar calls his greatest music director.
In the song Buried Alive, Lamar again admits to selling his soul for sex, fame, money, and power. Lamar declares, "When I said the music business was all I needed, when I got it, I was greeted by an alien.
When I said the music business was all I needed, when I got it, I was greeted by an alien. Put her in the Palms Hotel, Sin City, devil in a dress, platinum Chanel."
What about the famous Michael Jackson? Well, I believe in order for you to be able to notice whether he sold out or not, you have to pay attention to the fruit of his life and his lyrics.
We are the world. There's a line in We Are the World that is so demonic it's hard to believe that folks sung this in their churches in celebration to Michael Jackson. And it's down here. Michael wrote this part. It says, "Send them your heart so they'll know that someone cares." Y'all know. "And your lives will be stronger and free." Y'all remember that? Then he says, "As God has shown us by turning stones to bread." If Jesus had obeyed Satan and turned stones to bread, all of us would be lost right now. Folks didn't even get it. They waiting for me to finish the song.
And then there's another wild confession or story or whatever you want to call it that I came across recently. This one is in depth, but before I play that incoming clip, I wanna say this. You may be struggling financially, but don't let the stories of these people convince you that you can sell your soul and gain all the money and that you'll be okay. Jesus says in the Gospels, "What shall it benefit you to gain the whole world and lose your own soul?" What good does that do you? Nothing, right? Don't walk in step with these people who have sold their souls for fame and money. Don't do that.
This girl emailed me and she was like, "My ex-boyfriend sold his soul or channeled a demon to become a successful rapper." So I wasn't actually going to post a lot this week because I'm actually at my mom's house. I'm in her guest bedroom, but this one's really good. So she told me that she met this guy in high school. They went to high school together. He dropped out. She graduated. And actually in high school, they weren't together because he actually had a baby with like some girl that she knew. Like they weren't really friends, but whatever. He has a baby with her. She graduates. He had dropped out to become a successful rapper and like work on his rap career. After they graduate, somehow they get together. I'm not really sure the details on that, but pretty soon after they get together, she gets kicked out of her family's house. I don't really know the details on that either, but she said it's not really relevant to the story. So she moves in pretty soon after they start dating with him, his mom, and then sometimes his daughter's there. They have virtually no money. He's working a little bit. She's working at the mall. She's going to work every day. She's trying to help him provide for his daughter. And he's working on his rap career when he's not at work. He does a song that goes semi-viral around 2020. That song got attention of a big producer who lives in Los Angeles. The producer's team reaches out to him and basically tells him, "Hey, we want to bring you out here. We want to like work with you." And he's all excited. He goes to her. He's like, "I can't believe this is happening." She's like, "You need to go, baby." They go back and forth for a little bit. Finally, he's like, "Okay, you can come, but there's something I have to tell you. Every time I've been out here, we've been doing rituals. They showed me something that I can do to channel a better part of myself." And she said immediately she did not like this, red flags, because she believes in God. She doesn't think that you should be channeling anything. She tells him this. He's like, no, but like, look at my life since I've started doing it. Like, everything is getting better. He said, basically, I have to turn him on when I work, and that's the only way that we're going to be successful. He said, you believed in me then, believe in me now. She goes, I don't want any part of this. She decides she's going to stay at the hotel while he goes over there. He doesn't come back to the hotel that night. He did go on to be relatively successful at music. She ended up breaking up with him because she couldn't deal with his like personality changes. She did give me the details of their breakup, and then he went on to date Jazz.
Now, also, I want to warn you very strongly, please hear me out. You who listen to me, because I know there are many people who listen to me on a regular basis. I know that I have to give an account before Jesus for all that I do one day. So I want to warn you, please don't go watching any of these artists. Don't even go listening to them. This expose is not to glorify them. Rather, it is to expose the truth and lead you to the light, who is Jesus. Don't be influenced by the world, people. Listen to Jesus Christ alone. The book of Psalm 1 says, blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, or set foot on the path of sinners, or sit in the seat of mockers. Don't go listening to them. Now, what about this other guy, Rihanna's boyfriend? Well, here is him.
That Rihanna would sell at the Super Bowl. Born Rakim Mayers, A$AP Rocky has promoted Satanism for several years. In Lloyd Banks' song Make It Stack, featuring A$AP Rocky raps about making it big by selling his soul to the devil. In the song, selling one's soul results in gold and platinum albums, doing drugs, having sex with prostitutes, and stacking money. In the song, A$AP Rocky seems to lament the price to get his soul back because he deems it as being too high to get out of the devil's deal, declaring,
I'm trying to buy my soul from Satan. I can't keep up with payment. Strange writings on the wall got me feeling like a caveman.
And not only that, as you saw in the last video that I made, he did this ritual at the beginning of his career, right before he took off, to the point that the Satanic Church said this.
Incredibly, even the Church of Satan tweeted out praise for A$AP's satanic worship as we see here, and fire as we see here.
Well, what about Rihanna herself?
In her video about wanting to be a pop star, she basically shows herself engaging in a similar satanic ritual as her boyfriend A$AP Rocky. Rihanna's video for Rockstar 101 is about how to become a rock star, hence the reference to 101. Here we see Rihanna looking especially demonic. Here we see Rihanna making the sign of the devil horns, or satanic Baphomet, over and over again. These symbols have been used in Satanism for several years. Here we're seeing it being used by Satanist Anton LaVey, who started the Church of Satan. Next we see a fire, which may symbolize a sacrifice to Satan when one considers the context, as this takes place right between Rihanna flashing the devil horns and the dramatization of an occult-like ritual. Here we see Rihanna on her knees in a magic circle, presumably seeking empowerment from demonic entities, which is what magic circles are often used for in the occult. If that were not bad enough, Rihanna is also donning a goat leg or Baphometish headdress, identifying with Satan, like the headdress of a shaman, which is often used to signify contact with malevolent and evil spirits.
Now let me take you back to last century, right when rock and roll blew up. Many bands started being famous, and boy oh boy, their confessions are just horrific. They didn't hide their allegiances at all.
Manson stated, quote, as a teenager, I was very interested in selling my soul.
What didn't I take it? What didn't I
Meatloaf is yet another of one of the many rock artists who has admitted, quote, when I go on stage, I get possessed. From all of this documentation, one gets the idea that if all the demons that were possessing all these different rock stars were cast out on the same day, the entire rock and roll industry would come tumbling down to the ground. The punk rock band Suicidal Tendencies, in their song Possessed, state, quote, I'm a prisoner of a demon. This must be my punishment for selling my soul. The Grateful Dead, who were first called the Warlocks before they changed their name, make it quite clear as to whose puppets they are. In the song Friend of the Devil, the Dead sing about borrowing from Satan and, quote, a friend of the devil is a friend of mine, and they talk about being trailed by 20 hounds. In their song Hell in a Bucket, they declare, quote, I may be going to hell, but at least I'm enjoying the ride.
Now, talking about this guy who says he's enjoying the ride on his way to hell, well, people really think hell will be a party. I mean, eternal fire, worms teething through your being, unquenchable thirst. Like, people are really deceived. You really think about hell to its truest conclusion, and I tell you, you'll repent really quick. Jimi Hendrix is among those who are in the 27 club that I just mentioned minutes ago. He too got into devilish stuff, and I think that sometimes the part of the package is for you to die early, just like this XXXTentacion guy who passed away early and predicted his own death, just like Juice WRLD. What other conclusion is there? You give yourself over to the enemy and he tells you, I want you to die early. Back to Jimi Hendrix. Alan Douglas, an American record producer from Boston who worked with Jimi Hendrix and was close to him, said this about Jimi.
The biggest things about Jimi was what he believed, and he believed that he was possessed by some spirit, and I got to believe it myself, and that's what we had to deal with all the time. And he was very humble about discussing it with people because he didn't want people to feel like he was being pretentious and so on, but he really believed it, and he was wrestling with it constantly.
This is her former girlfriend Fane Pridgon.
Took it out of the bag, and
Listen to what she confessed about Jimi Hendrix.
I always talk about some devil or something was in him, you know, and he didn't have any control over it. He didn't know what made him act the way he acted and what made him say the things he said and songs and different things like that.
What about Carlos Santana, who won a total of 10 Grammy Awards?
Santana admits that he is channeling music from the same spirit entities that used Jimi Hendrix, who himself claimed to be demon-possessed. He said, quote, "There is an invisible radio that Jimi Hendrix and Coltrane tuned into, and when you go there, you start channeling other music." Santana told Rolling Stone magazine, quote, "You meditate and you got the candles, you got the incense, and you've been chanting, and all of a sudden you hear this voice, write this down."
Then there's this other person, Aleister Crowley, who has had a lot of influence on this artist. He's considered as a god to the celebrities. By his wicked teachings, he has inspired many of these artists to channel unclean entities. That is why you hear Jimi Hendrix say things like this: "I'm the one that's got to die when it's time for me to die, so let me live my life the way I want to." That demonic philosophy of do whatever you want to, do what thou wilt, comes from Aleister Crowley, who channeled spirit beings, which are demonic spirits from hell, and through Aleister, who has inspired many of these artists, demonic doctrines have been taught to millions upon millions all over the world. In fact, another person who I'm still shocked by what he said is this guy. I mean, like, wow.
The name of the album was the saying, "Do what thou wilt," which brought me to Aleister Crowley. Correct. And you know who Aleister Crowley is. Absolutely. Right? And he was a magician, a poet, and he was also linked to Satanism. Yeah. In ways. And so what made you decide, what does that mean to you? Made you decide to name your project that?
Well, you know what? You're the first one to bring up the Satanism, and I'm so glad that you did, because you know it's all church with me. Yeah. Know that. So do what thou wilt immediately sounds like, free will. Aleister Crowley has been influential throughout music and entertainment and ideology and philosophy. The album is based on that quote, "Do what thou wilt," which is in the book, one of his books, the Book of the Law. And love is the law. Love is the only law. I respect that because, my main thing is ain't nothing wrong with a righteous man, correct? Yeah. Yep. So I really admire this guy.
Is this going to be the breakthrough joint?
Well, I mean, but,
Well, see, what he's saying is, are you signing your name on the dotted line? Are you signing your soul away? No, yeah, that's what he's saying.
Are you in the Illuminati?
No, I mean, what you think?
Now, there's something that I'll share at the end of this video that concerns Diddy. Yes, who's on trial right now, and what he was affiliated with, as well as another shocking confession from another lady concerning what many of these artists have done for fame and money. And it will make you wonder what kind of world we live in. I mean, sickening stuff that is in the category of Ephesians 5, where it is written, "It is shameful to even mention what the disobedient do in secret." But stay with me to the end, so don't go away. And before we go ahead, can I ask you a favor? If you can, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video so that this video may be pushed to more people. It may help open the eyes of somebody who is spiritually asleep. These artists that we've mentioned, and many others that I've not mentioned, for those that I've not mentioned, mention them in the comments. We want people to know the truth, so share this video if you can, alright? What about this late night TV host who confessed this while interviewing Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Arnold has fought everybody he has not fought. I call him Beelzebub, Lucifer.
It's how I got this job. It's how I got this job.
Other people will say he's just joking. After covering many of such examples, he might not be. Just like these Gen Z icons who appeared on SNL.
3 Gen Z icons.
Aren't you like 40?
No. A long time ago, I met this guy and made a deal where I get to stay 25 years old for forever.
What guy?
Tall fella, horns, red fur, I don't know, little hooves.
Keen, that's the devil, dude.
What? I thought it was like a Times Square Elmo or something.
Well, I believe many of these people hide the truth in plain sight. And then there's this rapper called Trippie Redd. He's one of the most explicitly demonic persons I'll feature in this video. In his artwork, he doesn't hide his evil intentions.
He was seen posting this image on his Snapchat, which includes occult symbolism such as the all-seeing eye, the head of Baphomet, a biblical number of the beast 666, as well as the pentagram. This is Trippie Redd's arms, tattooed with several inverted crosses. Above the inverted crosses is the tattoo saying, "Demons at play." In this picture, his shirt says, "Take me to hell, tell me it's heaven," as a woman hugs the devil. The official music video for his hit song, Topanga, features a very eerie atmosphere with numerous heads of the Baphomet seen.
Many will say, oh, this is just for shock value, but oh, the evil one is real and it doesn't care about shock value. You open a door and it's gonna slide right in. Now, talking about Diddy, who's on trial as we speak for the very nasty things that he has done, and as I've promised, I will reveal more shortly, there's something I want to share. I want you to listen to what this pastor says about Diddy, and what he says is very interesting.
Our nation watched as one of entertainment industry's most famous people was arrested and brought in handcuffs in a New York City hotel. This man, who I never liked very much ever, but have been listening to his music since I was a teenager, was brought in on very serious charges by the federal government. Now, when his indictment was opened and that seal was broken on his indictment, man, legal analysts and TV pundits and social media pundits began to give commentary about the severity of his charges. Now, my brothers and sisters, long before there was videos of him beating women in lobbies, and long before there was lawsuits, man, what was it that brought him to the brink of the situation he's in right now? The same thing that brought him to the brink of the situation he is right now is the same thing that is alive on the inside of you and on the inside of me. And that is, it is sin in his life that brought him to the brink of what he's dealing with right now. And it's the same thing that's alive on you and the same thing that's alive in me. And while people are crying in comments, man, we hope that he gets what he deserves. And then you have other people saying, man, we feel sorry for him for what he's about to suffer, and we feel sorry for his family. And my brothers and sisters, I want you to know, man, this thing that brought him to where he is right now, this thing that's alive on the inside of you and me, man, this thing that began with Adam and the original sin that spread to all human beings, man, this thing on the inside of us, listen to me, it is the bane of our existence.
There's a revelation about sin that I want to share right before I continue with more exposure, so don't click away just yet. There's scripture about sin in the book of Hebrews where you and I are warned and told the following: see to it, brothers and sisters, that none of you has a sinful, unbelieving heart that turns away from the living God. Well, what does that mean? Well, this is what sin does to you, and if you're a believer, I want you to pay even more attention. Here you are walking with God and sin is over there. The more you give yourself over to sin, the more you'll start drifting away from God, and the more your heart will be hardened towards God. And if you've ever fallen in love, you know that at one point you didn't have any attachment or affection towards that person, but as time went by, you started becoming attached, slowly but surely. And that is why heartbreak really hurts. It's kind of like using a waxing strip to remove hair, but instead of that waxing strip removing hair, it removes the whole skin and leaves a nasty wound. Instantly, that hurts, just like heartbreak. And the more you sin, the more you're going to be attached to sin, and living it is gonna hurt. That is how dangerous it is. You gave yourself over to it, you fell in love with it, and it has charmed you and deceived you right into you giving your allegiance to it. That is why unbelief is a real thing. Another verse in Hebrews 3 also encourages us, and it says, "But encourage one another daily, as long as it is called today, so that none of you may be hardened by sin's deceitfulness." I mean, look at the devil. He has achieved the final form of unbelief. That is, he knows God, he knows that he exists, but chooses to reject him in total rebellion. Why? Because he gave himself over to sin to the point that he became the totality of what it means to become total darkness, to become sin itself. He's no longer near sin, he has become it. Now there's nothing in him but total darkness. That is why he's in total unchangeable rebellion against God. So don't give yourself over to sin, people. Sin is very dangerous. Now, I had promised to share something at the end, and here it is. It's about Diddy. Diddy has been getting roasted all over the internet because of the perverse things that he did. Well, I don't believe they were just perverse things. I truly believe they were rituals.
All right, y'all. What level of evilness was Diddy involved in that could possibly make a group of 5 men literally break down in tears?
Explain. I can't. And I don't want to sound like I'm a conspiracy person too. You know what I mean? Because I'm not. But when you're under a power, man, it's just I can't go into details now, but sir, like, I'll tell you, it felt like some sacrificial stuff was going on, man. Like, it felt very scary and weird to where I ran to get help. I ran to my doctor. I spoke up with my family. I spoke up to people around me because I was like, if this is true, and I'm missing or dead or something, I want you guys to know facts and the truth of what I'm going through and experiencing.
Did you have this conversation with the rest of the group?
Yeah, they know.
So when you guys heard this?
We was in tears. Like,
oh,
yeah.
Wow.
In tears. Real, I love my brother, what's going on, tears. Real hurt, pain.
They would invite male escorts or dancers to hotels they would book all over the country. They would order multiple men sometimes to show up. When the male escorts would show up, he would be greeted by Diddy and Cassie wearing a disguise. Cassie would wear a mask while Diddy would cover his face with a bandana. Then Diddy would sit in a corner while Cassie and the male worker engaged in intimate acts. And directing the entire session like if he were an adult film director, he would instruct them to continue until the escort would completely finish in or on Cassie. Cassie and Diddy would then immediately run into another room, leaving the escorts alone for a moment. Cassie claimed that when they were in the other room after finishing with the escort, Diddy would do the most disturbing thing about all of this. This is worse than anything else that has been reported, and that says a lot. According to Cassie, Diddy would instruct her to remove the male fluid from inside of her and then rub it on Diddy's chest area. Again, Cassie claims Diddy would want the escort's fluid rubbed on his chest after Cassie finished hooking up with him. This was seriously disturbing, but groundbreaking information that confirms everything I've been exposing about Diddy for years now. Now you may be wondering, why the heck would Diddy want another man's fluid rubbed on his chest? Is it because he's gay and that's just some weird kink he's into? No, not at all. This is darker and deeper than the mainstream is trying to make it appear. Diddy is a sex magician occultist. He is into an occult practice called sex magic. He is a part of the occult sex religion called Thelema.
And then there's a confession of a certain lady that many of these artists have done unthinkable things to get where they are. I want you to listen to what she says, alright?
Tiffany Evans, as a music industry insider, went on to warn, quote, "Man, I really wish I could tell you guys what the industry really is and what stars are a part of destroying this world. The stars who worship Satan and those who have killed to get the respect they have now or seem innocent. Satan was head of music in heaven. He uses influential people to help influence the world. Think about that. Once you make a certain amount of money, just know that's when they ask you to join. To get in, you have to accept the beast, worship. Once you join, they assist you with your career, make you huge only if you agree and obey to destroy God's word and his children. People, and pay attention, it's a war going on right now between good and evil. Evil will rule this world for a minute. The people that have this power are the people that rule the whole world. I'm done. I won't say any more before I get in trouble.
And this just shows you how far people can go in that depravity. So watch out. All of you that are watching this video, watch out. If you're still with me to the very end, watch out and don't give yourself over to sin, because sin starts small. I mean, I don't think Diddy, when he reached the place that he's in right now, actually thought that he was going to get there. The drifting away from righteousness, it starts small. And for you, the believer, watch out that you don't harden your heart by continuing to live in willful sin with no desire to repent. That is very, very, very dangerous. Because there's a quote that says, sin will take you farther than you want to go, keep you longer than you want to stay, and cost you more than you want to pay. It's so seductive, and you don't even notice yourself drifting away from God. It is very subtle. So watch out, people. Watch out. Continue in close fellowship with Jesus Christ, and you will be okay.